So one of the big things that you look at when you look at education is how do you make it an engaging experience? Because to be honest, as a college student, one of the biggest things you look for when you go into a classroom environment is, am I going to be engaged or am I going to be sleeping, so to speak? Because we've all been there in high school or whatnot. You had the professor that was just boring, not because they wanted to be, but just because that's who they were, and it was kind of hard to follow. And one of the ideas that I want to try to explain today is, students themselves can help drive a class to success or failure more than a professor would. Because if you think about it, if you're in a classroom, right, and there's like 35 of you and one professor, you have 34 more people in your student section than you would in the professor. So, of course, the professor is the one talking, the one making you engage and learn. But at the end of the day, you 35 students are going to be well more responsible for how the environment is than the professor is. And sure, there's always classrooms where you can't talk or whatever. You just sit down, take notes or whatever. But it's the before and the after class in that situation that you can help affect. And one of the ways you can do that is actually interacting. I can't tell you how many times I went to a class and, people just kind of were there to just say, I'm going to get my degree, I'm going to get my class, this is all I want, I don't care about social interaction. And that's cool. But if you can't then complain about, the class wasn't all expected to be, you didn't pass it well, it wasn't the experience, because you made that experience not come like fully in circle because you just said, I'm going to take the class and get out, and who cares about who's in the classroom. Now, but how can you help that? Well, it's easy as just saying, like, talking to some of the people around you before or after class, or if you're in classroom situations where there's a lot of group work, getting to know people or voicing your opinion. If you're in a class where a professor asks questions, answer them. Because I can tell you from knowing professors that want classroom interaction and it doesn't happen, it really just drives away any of the kind of energy that they would have to continue going on in the classroom environment. And even if you're a talkative person like me, it's hard when the whole class around you doesn't want to talk to actually start talking, because you're like, we as humans tend to want to be with the group, and you don't want to be like, that guy, the one person in the class that has to answer every question. So instead of just going and saying something, if the whole class is quiet, you're just kind of like, yeah, I think I'm going to be quiet too. And then nothing happens and there's like no energy and you just feel like the class just sucks, right? So you don't want to do that. What you kind of want to try to do, in my experience and from what I've dealt with looking at people beforehand, is just try to make it as interactive as possible in different ways as possible. So, talk to somebody. If you're in a group interaction environment, make sure you interact, make sure you get some opinion out there to where it's not just, professor staring into blank eyes and everyone's just kind of staring there like, hey, we don't want to talk or whatever. But if you do feel that way, one of the most important life skills, and actually the number one skill that employers have been looking for in their applications or in their interview process, is communication skills. And one of the ways you can make that super easy to get better at is when you're in the classroom environment. You signed up for the class anyway, you're going to take the class, you might as well input something, and just that one sentence or that one question you might answer can help you. If you are a shy person or don't like talking, that one question you answer could actually help you maintain a better communicative lifestyle, because you're like, oh, that wasn't so hard. Because if you think about it, whenever you go into those icebreaker activities when you were little and stuff, what's the one thing that you thought? You're like, oh, do it. You're like, no, I'm scared, right? You're scared of trying new things. We all are at that point sometime. So you go and you try it, and then you're like, oh, wait, that wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. And then from then on, you can do that activity just plain and simple. Well, it's the same thing with talking. If you're used to talking to people like your friends or your family, so sometimes some things to get easier to talking is just think of someone like your friend. We're all here in some degree to help each other. accomplish what goal or whatnot. So just go out. If someone asks you a question, just pretend like they're one of your friends, or pretend like, they actually want the best for you. And then that way, you're not feeling pressured. You're not feeling like there's any negative things that's going to happen to you. And, most of the time, if something does happen, you answer something stupid. We all have it happen. Hopefully they'll just give you some constructive feedback and not make you feel bad about it, because that's one of the big things that happens that kind of puts people down, is that they say something stupid and then people put them down for it, whereas the response should be much more positive, much more engaging, and that we shouldn't be putting people down for dumb things, or else they're not going to be able to speak up again. So yeah, definitely in a classroom situation as a student, look for ways to make the process more engaging if you're having problems with it. Try to, meet up with some of your people right after class about something. We all need help in some sort or another, even if we don't think we need to. Because, you don't want to be going into class dreading to go into class because you don't know anybody, the professor sucks. At least try to get one of those factors to change. And the easiest one is to go with the students that are there for the same reason you are, and just, try to make an experience worthwhile. We don't have unlimited days to live out on this earth, and the way that you can help yourself every day is just make sure, that you meet someone new, say something, make a fun experience about it. You're at that class for, however long, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 16 weeks, whatever the case may be. Just try to make it engaging, try to make it fun. Because, if it's fun to you, it'll fly by, Whereas if a class is boring, you don't want to go to it, that class is going to last so much longer than it should be. And just the class itself is going to be like, man, I hated taking that class. You don't want to have those experiences unless you absolutely have, there's no other choice except for just taking that class and getting out of the way. But as a student, just try to make your experience in college or high school or whatever, try and make it as exceptional as possible. And one of the simple ways you can do that is just practicing a communication skill, because just talking to someone today at your class may help you, 5 years down the road when you keep practicing and practicing, and then it actually make you more marketable in a job environment. And just that's one of the greatest ways in education that you can make things more involved, is that, just think about it, engage with those around you, and all of you will have a better experience at the end of the day.